Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. Today I'm going to start with news and notes. Actually, I'm going to do the show backwards today for some obvious reasons. We're going to start with news and notes and then go into the sports stuff and then best bet. And the reason why I want to start with news and notes is because Major League Baseball extended its deadline to avoid canceled games to 5 o'clock Eastern today after no deal overnight. Talks resume at 11 a.m. Eastern. So, it looks like that significant process has been done. I think both sides want to get a deal done, and they're trying their butts off to get it done. And I believe that after 24 hours ago, I said that I did not think it was going to get done. Now I actually do think it's going to get done. I'm glad that I was wrong about that because, let's face it, this podcast deserves baseball. Everybody deserves baseball. And we cover baseball a lot on this show, so, we need baseball. And I think that it's a great sport to watch. It's the most unpredictable sport to watch. I think that, it's kind of lost its luster a little bit in some markets, but it's still a great sport, and baseball fans are very passionate, so I'm so happy that there's, some motivation towards getting a deal done. And what's interesting me the most is the idea of expanded playoffs to either 12 or 14 teams. I think that a lot of people say that 14 is too much. I thought 16 was too much when we had the COVID season and the expanded playoffs that year. But I think 14 is okay. So whoever's the top seed can get a bye. And then you go division winner. And then wild card. And the first wild card and the fourth wild card would play each other in the first round. The third wild card plays the 3 seed, and the first wild card. Wait a minute. The first wild card plays the 3 seed, and the second wild card. Okay, that's confusing. The first wild card plays the fourth wild card. The second wild card. Wait a minute. No, this is confusing. The last wild card would play the 2 seed. The third wild card would play the 2 or the 3 seed, and then the top 2 wild card teams would play it out. And this gives opportunities to teams that are in a loaded division to come through. The AL East is a good example. The AL East was the best division last year, and if we had expanded playoffs in how I'm laying it out, then the Toronto Blue Jays would have made the postseason. And so that would have been neat to see. Toronto, who would have been a 6 seed, and in theory here, play the 3 seed, which was the White Sox were the 3 seed would have been the 3 seed last year if I laid this out correctly. The Rays would have been the 1 seed. They would have played the last wild card, which would have been the Indians or something like that, now called the Guardians. So it's just a fun little scenario that I threw out there that I think is possible, and that's how I think they should do it. 1 seed with the bye, and then 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, and 4 versus 5, just like the NFL. Because I feel like in baseball the last few years, there's been good teams that missed the postseason. Oh, and I thought about who that last playoff spot would have been. The Mariners. They would have been the 7th seed, not the Guardians. It would have been Seattle playing the the Astros, which would have been a lot of fun. Division rival and everything. So, hopefully they get this done. There's a couple other hurdles that they want to get over, and hopefully I'm doing an emergency podcast tonight talking about an agreement. So, fingers crossed, guys. All right, other news and notes. It was reported that the league was willing to miss a month, and they were prepared to cancel a month of games during the early part of yesterday's meetings. Bryce Harper teases a Japan move as he jokes about playing in Japanese league with MLB lockout deadline looming. Or it was then looming, and then they extended the deadline. And Andrew McCutchen tweeted the Notebook scene in response to asking how the meetings were going. And more baseball stuff. NBC could broadcast Major League Baseball as the league is looking for $100 million, $150 million payout for the broadcast rights. So that'd be cool for NBC. Like, would Kenny Albert be calling baseball games for them? Bob Costas, maybe. So, like, there's interesting options where NBC can go with their broadcasting team for baseball. And big news, Derek Jeter no longer with the Marlins as he stepped down as the CEO yesterday morning. This was surprising. I think the lockout might have had something to do with this, and part of me wonders now if this kind of motivated the talks a little bit with some of these owners, because they're realizing that people were quitting their jobs and whatnot. And so the question is, what's next for Jeter? And then it was reported that ESPN is eyeing Jeter as they would love to get into business with Jeets after he resigned with the Marlins. So we'll see if Jeter ends up with ESPN and joins A-Rod, or he gets a front office position elsewhere. FIFA bans Russian teams in both the men's and women's soccer from international competition until further notice. So a lot of the Russian stuff is translating into sports in terms of punishments and whatnot. And then the IIHF bans Russia and Belarus from international play and moves the 2023 World Juniors out of Russia. So that is also a very big deal. Cameras caught LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Trevor Ariza calling out fans at the game against the Pelicans in which they got booed. The Packers announced their London home game, and Aaron Rodgers was not included. What does that tell you? So, the Arizona Wildcats got a big commit, Kylan Boswell, as he picks the Wildcats over Illinois, UNLV, and more. Mike Zimmer openly blasted Kirk Cousins as Zimmer complained in meetings that the Cousins didn't make enough winning plays. Yikes. Now you know that Cousins is going to be motivated this season. The 2024 draft location finalists: Green Bay, Detroit, Washington. So having a draft in D.C. would be very interesting. I'd love to see one at Lambeau, just for fun and those fans. the quarterback trade market to heat up as the Commanders, Colts, Bucks, Saints, Panthers, and Steelers expected to pursue quarterback trades as the combine starts. So that is interesting news. And the Saints may resign Jameis Winston after tearing his ACL. That would be really interesting and a interesting gamble for sure. Evan Neal to skip combine workout, and we'll wait until Alabama's pro day to work out. Art Briles resigns as Grambling State's offensive coordinator. Well, that was quick. Baker Mayfield ahead of rehab schedule as he's progressing better than expected in the labrum injury rehab, so that's good for the Browns. And Jameis Winston was back to running as he was running around yesterday for the first time since tearing his ACL. The Lakers waived DeAndre Jordan and will sign DJ Augustine and Wenyen Gabriel, which is really crazy. And the 76ers are going after Jordan as to serve as a backup to Joel Embiid. I wonder if Brooklyn's going to get back in on him. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. eyeing the playoffs as the Nuggets have a strong sense that both players could return for the postseason. That is huge for Denver. Coach K's last game against UNC tickets are over $5,000 as the average ticket. So that's crazy. And the new AP poll is out. Gonzaga is still number one despite losing to St. Mary's, but that is because, like everybody else lost. All right, 2 through 5, Arizona, Baylor, Duke, Auburn. 6 through 10, Kansas, Kentucky, Purdue, Providence, Wisconsin. 11 through 15, Villanova, Texas Tech, Tennessee, Arkansas, Houston. 16 through 20, USC, UCLA, UConn, St. Mary's, Illinois. And 21 through 25, Texas, Murray State, Ohio State, Iowa, Alabama. So that's your top 25 in the AP poll for this week. Non-sports news, the Chicks are back on tour this year after a long break. Andrew Cuomo drops a TV ad in hopes of a comeback. He says New York has lost a proven leader. That's what he says in the commercial. Well, not to go on a rant, but Cuomo really should be staying away from women if he really is a proven leader. I'm not a fan of Andrew Cuomo. What he did was just awful. And he should have resigned. Now he wants to come back to politics. And I think that a lot of people lost respect for him after what he did. And back to the Russia stuff, as they pummels Ukraine's number 2 city, Kharkiv, and vows to push on until it achieves goals. This is just really sad, and hopefully everybody in Russia and Ukraine are okay. It's very sad what's going on out there. All right, now we'll move on to college basketball, where we'll recap the games from last night, and we will look ahead to everything going on tonight in the sport, which tonight is a much larger window of games than last night. All right, so last night, Towson over Delaware at 69-57 in a resumption of a game from January 27th. Hope Shore over Charleston 89-84. Central Connecticut over Fairleigh Dickinson 67-66. Fordham over UMass 85-73. UNC over Syracuse 88-79 in overtime. Norfolk State over NC Central 75-46. Howard over SC State 72-62. Coppin State over Delaware State 80-67. Number 24 Iowa over Northwestern 82-61. Morgan State over Maryland Eastern 82-48. Bethune-Cookman over Grambling 69-63. Alcorn State over Texas Southern 75-72. Number 3 Baylor over number 21 Texas 68-61. Number 12 Texas Tech over Kansas State 73-68. San Diego State over Wyoming 73-66. Jackson State over Prairie View 59-53. Southern over Florida A&M 58-49. Fresno State over New Mexico 71-68. Number 17 UCLA over Washington 77-66. And Washington State over Oregon State 103-97 in overtime. Now we look ahead to tonight's games. I apologize. I just did totals for the conference tournament games, and not the rest. All right, 6:30 Fox Sports 1, number 9 Providence, and number 11 Villanova. My projection is Nova by 4 7/8. And it is 10 and 134.5. I'm taking Providence in the 10. I can't believe Villanova's that big of a favorite. SEC Network, number 13, Tennessee at Georgia. My projection is Tennessee by 14 and 5/8, and it's 16 and 145.5. I'll go with the over. CBS Sports Network in Richmond. My projection is Richmond 4.5, and it's 2. I'm laying the 2. 7 o'clock ESPN. Ole Miss and number 7 Kentucky. My projection is Kentucky 14.5, and it's 17 139.5. I'm taking Ole Miss in the points. Big Ten Network. Nebraska number 23 Ohio State. My projection is Ohio State by 15 1/8, and it's 14 and 150 over. Horizon League Tournament, Green Bay, Detroit. My projection, Detroit 13.5, total 135.25. And it's 10.5, 133.5. I'm going to lay the points with Detroit. Robert Morris, Youngstown State. My projection is Youngstown by 13 1/8, total 142.75. And it is 7.5. I'll lay the points. And when the total is 142.5. American and Holy Cross. My projection is Holy Cross by 1, total 134.85 in the Patriot League tournament. And we got 2.5 and 130.5 over. Bucknell Lafayette Patriot League tournament. My projection is Lafayette by 3 3/8, total 144.55. And it's 5.5 and 146.5. I'm going to go with a slight edge to the under. ASUN, Stetson, Central Arkansas. My projection is Central Arkansas by a quarter, total 147.2. And we got 1.5 and 151.5 under. ASUN tournament, Eastern Kentucky, Kennesaw State. My projection is Eastern Kentucky by 1 7/8, total 148.3. And we got Kennesaw 4.5, total 152.5. I'm taking Eastern Kentucky plus 4.5 and plus 164 to win the game outright. ASUN tournament, North Alabama, Florida Gulf Coast. My projection is Gulf Coast 12 1/4, total 143. And it's 10.5 and 141.5. So very close all around. But I'm going to go with the slight edge, the Florida Gulf Coast. St. Peter's, Manhattan. My projection is St. Peter's by 3 3/4. And we got 3.5 and 134.5 over. Vermont, Maine. My projection for this one is Vermont by 16 1/8. And we got 18.5 and 135.5 under. Or no, I'm sorry, Maine in the points. NHL 18, Stony Brook. My projection is Stony Brook by 10 and 7/8. And we got 10 and 137. Over. New Hampshire, UMass Lowell. My projection is a pick'em. And it's Lowell 3.5, total 1 3.5. I'm taking New Hampshire plus the 3.5. I don't know if they'll win or not. Hartford, Albany. My projection is Albany by 3 3/8. And it's 2.5 and 135.5. I'm taking the over. Binghamton, UMBC. My projection is UMBC by 9 3/4. And it's 6.5. I'm laying the points. ESPN 2, West Virginia, Oklahoma. My projection is Oklahoma by 2 1/4. And it's 6. I'm taking West Virginia in the points to cover. Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan. My projection is Eastern 2 1/4. And it's 4.5 and 138.5. I'm taking Western plus the points. Ohio, Bowling Green. My projection is Ohio by 8 5/8. And it's 8.5 and 158.5 under. Akron, Ball State. My projection is Akron by 3 3/8. And we got 3.5 and 142.5 over. Toledo, Buffalo. My projection is Buffalo by 2. And it's 2.5 and 160.5 under. Miami of Ohio and Central Michigan. My projection is Miami of Ohio by 2.5. And it's 2.5 and 148.5 under, but I don't feel good about it. ESPNU, Missouri, South Carolina. My projection is South Carolina by 9 5/8. And it's 7. I'm laying the 7. 8 o'clock, ACC Network. Number 4, Duke at Pitt. My projection is Duke by 14. And it's 15 and 137 over. Number 6, Kansas at TCU. My projection is Kansas by 4 1/8. And it's 5 and 143 over. Horizon League Tournament. IUPUI Oakland. My projection is Oakland 19.5, total 131. And it's 22 and 127. Over. UIC and Milwaukee Horizon League Tournament. My projection is Milwaukee by 2 5/8, total 140.05. And it's 3 and 140.5. The irony here is that Milwaukee's supposed to be home in this game. And they are. FanDuel has UIC home. I'm taking advantage of this mishap. So give me Milwaukee plus the 3 and plus 128 to win this game outright. A-Sun Tournament, North Florida, Lipscomb. My projection for this game is Lipscomb by 5 1/8, total 144 8/10. Meanwhile, it's 2.5 and 148.5. Under. Kent State, Northern Illinois. My projection is Kent by 10 3/8. It's 8.5, 132.5 over. 8:30, Fox Sports 1, Michigan State, Michigan. My projection is Michigan by 1 7/8. And it's 5 and 142.5. Give me Sparty plus the 5. CBS Sports Network, VCU hosting St. Bonaventure. My projection is VCU by 1 1/8. And it's 3 and 132.5. Give me the over. SEC Network, Florida Vandy. My projection is Florida by 2 1/8. And it's 1 and 135 over. 9 o'clock, ESPN, number 8, Purdue, and number 10, Wisconsin. Game of the night. My projection is Purdue on the road as a 3/8 favorite. And it's 2.5 and 144.5. The question is, do I take Wisconsin? The answer is yes. I think Wisconsin's going to win this game too. ESPNU, Cincinnati at number 14, Houston. My projection is Houston 10.5. And it's 15 and 135.5. Give me Cincinnati in the points. Southern Utah and Montana State. My projection is Montana State by 3 and 7/8. And we got 3.5 and 146.5. Over. ESPN2, Louisville, Virginia Tech. My projection is Vatech by 6 and 5/8, and it's 10, 132.5. Give me Louisville in the points. Nevada, Boise State. My projection is Boise by 9 and 5/8, and it's 10 and 138.5. Over. San Jose State, Air Force. My projection is Air Force by 4, and it's 5.5, 128.5. Over. Cal State, Northridge, UC Santa Barbara. My projection is Barbara by 5 and 3/8, or 15 and 3/8, and then it's 14.5 and 132.5. Over. And 11 o'clock on ESPN, number 2 Arizona, number 16 USC. Dave Pasch, Bill Walton on the call. My projection, USC by 3 1/4. And we got Arizona 4.5, total 150.5. Oh my God, give me a USC plus 4.5 and plus 162 straight up. Like, how on earth is USC a dog in this game? I love Arizona. I think they're awesome. But they shouldn't be favored here. This is just surreal. All right, now move on to the NBA. We will recap the games from last night and look ahead to a nice slate for tonight. Not super busy. Timberwolves over the Cavs, 127-122. Minnesota goes to 33-29. Cleveland 36-25. Magic over the Pacers, 119-103. Orlando 15-27, or 15-47, and Indiana is 21-42. Raptors over the Nets, 133-97. Toronto is 33-27. Brooklyn is 32-30. Heat over the Bulls, 112-99. The Heat, 41-21. Chicago, 39-23. Grizzlies over the Spurs, 118-105. Memphis, 43-20. San Antonio, 24-38. By the way, Ja Morant had 52 points in this game. Unbelievable. Bucks over the Hornets, 130-106. The Bucks, 36-25. Charlotte, 30-32. And the Kings over the Thunder, 131-110. The Kings are 23-40, and OKC is 19-42. Now we move on to tonight's game, 7 o'clock. You have the Pistons and the Wizards. My projection is the Wizards by 9 1/4, total 216 3/4. And it's 3 and 214.5. Oh, I know why this line is so off. I forgot to account for the loss of Bradley Beal here. So I have to make an adjustment. So it's really the Wizards by 3 3/4, total 216.75. So I'm going to go with the under. Next up, Hawks Celtics, 7:30 on TNT. My projection is Boston 5 3/4, so 218 55 and it's 7 226 under. Nets Raptors. My projection is Toronto by a whopping 19, total 219 210, and it's 8.5 and 220. I'm laying the 8.5 with Toronto. 8 o'clock, Clippers, Rockets. My projection is Houston by 3/4, total 220 and 15 and it's Clippers by 7, total 219.5. Give me the Rockets getting 7 and plus 240. I think the Rockets are going to win this game outright. No Paul George, no Kawhi. Kind of like how Houston's been playing a little bit, especially offensively. Warriors, Timberwolves. My projection is Minnesota by 1 1/4, total 220, and it's Golden State by 1, total 231.5. I'm going with the under. And 10 o'clock on TNT, the Mavs and the Lakers. Yes, another Laker home game on TNT. My projection is Dallas by 3 3/4, total 216.5, and it is 6.5 and 216.5. Oh my God. I hate this pick because I know Anthony Davis. But give me the Lakers plus 6.5. No, they won't win. But I just think that LeBron is so good. He could be the best player on the court tonight, not Luka. And this game could be closer than folks expect, considering how bad the Lakers have been lately. All right, NHL, we will recap the games from last night, and we will look ahead to the games being played tonight, which I think is a busy slate tonight in hockey, but it could be wrong. Devils over the Canucks 7-2. The Devils 19-29-5. Vancouver 26-23-6. Maple Leafs over the Capitals 5-3. The Leafs 35-14-4. Washington 28-18-9. Bruins over the Kings 7-0. Wow. Boston 32-17-4. LA 29-18-7. All right, now we look ahead to tonight's slate, and yes, we have 9 games in total tonight. 7 o'clock, you have the Senators and the Lightning. Lightning minus 360, Ottawa plus 280, over under 6, overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Ottawa plus 1F is plus 110, Lightning minus 1F is minus 134. I'm going to go with the juiced over here, over 6 minus 120. Oilers Flyers. Oilers minus 176. Flyers plus 130 or plus 146. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Oilers plus 1.5 is plus 142. And Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 176. I'm gonna go with the over here at even money. Devils Blue Jackets. Jackets minus 140, Devils plus 116, over under 6.5, minus 110 each way. Devils plus 1.5 is minus 215. Jackets minus 1.5 is plus 172. I love the over in that game. Devils and overs are synonymous now. 7:30, Hurricanes Red Wings. Hurricanes minus 230, Red Wings plus 188, over under 6.5, overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Canes minus 1.5 is plus 116. Detroit plus 1.5 is minus 142. Detroit fell out of the race. Give me Carolina puck line minus 1.5 at plus 116. Easily the best team in the Metro Division. 8 o'clock, Flames Wild. The Wild are minus 115, Flames minus 104, over under 6.5, minus 110 each way. Flames plus 1.5 is minus 280, Wild minus 1.5 is plus 220. Tough one. Very tough. But I like how Calgary's playing, so I'm going to take them as a road dog here. Minus 104 to win at Minnesota. Canadiens Jets. Jets minus 240. Montreal plus 195. Over under 6. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Montreal plus 1.5 is minus 140. Jets minus 1.5 is plus 114. I'm going to go with the under here. I could see Hellebuck playing well. And the Jets not really scoring much. Like, I could see this being 4-0. 9 o'clock, Islanders Avalanche. Avs minus 315, Isles plus 250, over under 6, minus 110 each way. Avs minus 1F is minus 114, Isles plus 1F is minus 106. I'm going to go with the over. The overs in Islander games are tough. Sometimes, but I think it'll come through here. I think this could be a 4-3 game. Over in Islanders puck line's a good same game parlay. 10 o'clock, Sharks, Golden Knights. Vegas minus 240, Sharks plus 195, over under 6, overs minus 108, unders minus 112. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 140, Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 114. I'm going to go with the over in this game. And last but not least, Bruins Ducks. Bruins minus 182, Ducks plus 150, over under 5.5, overs minus 122, unders even money. Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 142, Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 176. I'm going to go with the under in this game, but I don't feel good about it. Boston, the second of a back-to-back, and I can see a world where John Gibson plays well. So, under 5.5 and Ducks puck line, I think, is interesting. It's the same game or two. I'm going to go under 5.5 at even money. All right, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. It was weird that I pushed news and notes to the start of the podcast, but I had to start it early because of the baseball stuff. But there's one pick I absolutely love. It's in the Pac-12. The game's on ESPN, and it's the USC Trojans getting 4.5 at home against Arizona. I just baffled that Arizona's favored in that game. I closed out February with 4 straight best bet wins after a slow start to February. So let's hope that March is just as good as January for best bets, and hopefully I get my 5th best bet win in a row. So give me the USC Trojans plus the 4.5, laying 1 unit on it at home against Arizona. All right, so that's it for today's show. I'll be back later with 4 shows: Missouri Valley, Sun Belt, West Coast, and SoCon for the conference tournament preview and predictions shows. I might be back with an emergency pod with the baseball situation too. We'll see about that. And then tomorrow's show is the usual. We will talk about the golf tournament coming up, which is, we have 2, the Arnold Palmer Invitational and the Puerto Rico Open. We have 2. So we'll preview and pick those, go over tee times and whatnot. And then obviously news and notes and best bet on tomorrow's show as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.